Hello everyone, and welcome to Asetek. I'm André, I'm the CEO and founder of the company, and right now we are residing in our race shop where we are basically storing our race car and all our race equipment. Before doing anything else, let me give you a big disclaimer. This is live. This means everything can go wrong, and it may do so, and then at least we will have some fun with that. The way it's going to work is I'm going to talk a little bit about what we have coming in terms of new products, new features, etc. Then in advance, I have gotten, I think, 3 pages of questions from you guys. Thank you. And then I have a tablet here where I can get questions from you guys live also, so don't hold back. I do believe there are questions enough here for several hours, but the reason we are doing these sessions is that, as most of you know, we have only been in the sim game for basically a couple of years, and we are trying to take as much end-user feedback into account as at all possible, at the same time being true to our philosophy, and that is that we build products that feel like real race cars. And if we start with some of the stuff that we have coming that I can volunteer, is that we're always trying to make our ecosystem more and more open, and one of the things we've done, as most of you know, is we made the Invicta quick release. So I think we have a more or less disassembled version here, so you can use whatever third-party wheel that you would like to. So what we have coming here is a new front mount. It's mounted on this Invicta wheelbase already. And what it really is it will give you the same hole pattern as a Fanatec DD base, the podium base typically. And we've had a lot of requests from customers who is, I assume, upgrading their wheelbase, and then instead of having to buy a new mount, we will be able to supply you this guy, and then you can reuse the mount you have. Also, same context, we have this mount coming out as well. Same system as you know, you take off this cap, put this one on and remount the cap, and this one will then be for a profile rig. So when you have this on the wheelbase, you mount this on your rig, on the profile rigs on the top, and then you can slide it back and forth. So very easy way to mount it on your rig. And for those of you who should be in doubt, yes, 5mm steel is more than stiff enough when it's bolted onto the engine. Then I think I have a big one that a lot of you is worrying about, and that is button caps and color kits for our wheels. So funnily enough, there's a lot of pushback on the orange buttons. We have sold thousands of sets of pedals. I think I have yet to get any negative feedback on the orange on the pedals. But this is not so much about what I like, or what we like, it's more about what you like. So there will be button caps where you can actually change the colors and the whole feel of the steering wheel. And they will be coming out, I expect, during Q1 next year. Basically the same with the mounts. Then we have a huge software release coming out. I expect end of Q1. It will be a RaceHub 3.0. There will be, as it stands right now, 25 new features. So from having a, let's say where we started, a more basic version, I now expect that we will come out with very competitive and very nice software. Then another interesting one that a lot of you have been asking about. This is a prototype, that's why it's not black. This is just raw aluminum that's been CNC machined. As you know, we made the extension for third-party wheels, and then all of you customers of our current wheels have asked, but what do we do? How do we put on an extension? So we made this this one here that you snap on like that, And then you basically attach your steering wheel. And the interesting thing is we got rid of the paddle. First of all, it doesn't really look nice to have 2 paddles. And secondly, most of you is using this extension to place your monitor here, so the paddle will be in the way. That of course also means that the sequence on how to dismount it is a little bit different, but you take off the wheel like you would normally do, and then instead of the paddle, we have a screw in here, and then you get an Allen key like this, and then you take it off. And then you basically unscrew this a few revolutions, and then you can snap it on again. So the idea is that this will probably be on your wheelbase, and then you can take one wheel or the other wheel on and off. And we'll talk a little bit about the Invicta wheel later. But of course, we have made the distance from the backside of the Invicta wheel the same, so you can change between the Forte and the Invicta and the La Prima wheels, and it will all be the same. What we've also done is we have made sure that the medium extension from the Invicta quick release, when the flange is on, of course, we don't know how thick your third-party wheel is, but the idea is that this plus this equals this. So you can mix and match third-party wheels, Asetek one wheel, Asetek the other wheel, and I think within a few millimeters your steering will be in the same position. While we are at it with the extensions here, we have listened once again. There's been a lot of requests for people asking for a La Prima version, is what it will be, of the quick release here, meaning that it will be pure mechanical. There will be one length only. If you have a strong opinion of which of the 3 lengths it should be, feel free to drop us a note, and we'll look into what the majority wants. We will take the electronics out. We will only include 1 length of pipe, obviously. And by doing that, we will make it cheaper than what you know today from the Invicta with everything in. Let's see what I have on my list here. Then we have the LMP handles. I've shown some of you those before. These looks a little bit shiny and plasticky. That's because they are. They are 3D prints, but you'll get the idea. And as you can see, the steering wheel get a completely new touch and feel to it. It looks pretty cool, actually. So the LMP handles, I expect them to be out during Q1 as well. And one thing I can reveal here as well is that although the Invicta wheel will be very different in terms of design and materials than the Forte and the La Prima wheels, all handles are interchangeable. So as you know, we really look into this. How can we reuse as much as possible? How can we upgrade? How can we downgrade? How can we flex? So all the loose parts will be the same. Then we have the sticker set for the La Prima wheels. As those of you know who got a Forte wheel, on all these LED spots here, you can put in a sticker, and then you can program each button to basically say whatever you want. As we don't have these button LEDs on the La Prima, that has for obvious reasons, never been any smart idea to include the stickers, especially since the stickers are transparent and black. But we are going to come out with a sticker set for the La Prima wheels as well, where the text will be white, and then you can customize the La Prima wheel exactly the same as you can with the Forte wheels. So that's also something that's on the way. And then before I take the last point on my list, I'll actually dive into the questions. We have categorized them a little bit. You can see I have not written down any answers because I think the whole point with life is gone if everything was written down. But I can see here that there is a group of questions with regards to steering wheel. So I'm just going to read them out. Will we see the Invicta steering wheel soon? And what will the price be? When will we see Invicta level wheels? PS, such an amazing stand you guys had at the Asetek Sim Racing. When will the Invicta wheel with screen become available, and when will we see upgrades for the wheelbase? So we should just postpone the upgrade discussion a little bit. So as you can see, there's a lot about the Invicta wheel. And I could show it to you today, but I'm not going to because I don't want to reveal it. But what I can say is that it's going to be a very, very nice steering wheel. It'll have a really nice display. Everything will be aluminum and carbon. Of course, there are a few small plastic pieces here and there, and obviously iron screws, etc. But the majority of the materials will be aluminum and carbon. And I think it's fair to say that it'll be very true to the design of the Invicta pedals that you know, also in terms of materials. In terms of availability, if everything goes well, and it rarely do, but if we assume everything goes well, then I would say end Q2, early Q3 next year. We have parts in tooling right now. We have prototypes running, so it's just execution there's left. Then being with steering wheels, will there be a TK version of the La Prima/Forte button box? It's not in the works as we speak. We may, since we're doing these button caps and also new buttons, actually these, we may make them available in green so everybody can make the steering wheel in the green color if they want to. Then we have, are there going to be smaller wheel diameters? So for GT wheels, and other wheel options in the future, yes, for sure. We just launched 6 different rims, open D, closed D, circular, etc. And of course, that's only the beginning. There will be more wheels coming as we speak. There will be dedicated rally wheels, drift wheels, etc. So that's a clear yes. Any chance for different colors for the thumb encoders? So here's one who actually wants to take the green color out of the TK wheel, so perhaps you guys can swap. But the thumb encoders are these guys, and they are actually very difficult to swap. But as I talked about before, and I'll get back to it later today also, is these upgrade kits we have available. So if you have the TK wheel, it's something that reminds of a La Prima, and you could actually upgrade it to a Forte wheel, and then by then you would get rid of the colors. I promise to come back to the upgrades. Then there's a question on grips, whether we will be offering different materials for the Formula wheel. So because of the cooperation we have with, I think, 11 other steering wheel companies, we have samples of, I think we have 15 different Formula wheels that I was just checking before, and all of them had silicone rubber or some sort of rubber on the handles. And then I started to look into why that is. And I think if you look at the shapes here, the 3D shapes, they're pretty complex compared to those of a round wheel. But nevertheless, we actually have challenged our vendors whether they can do it without wrinkles that will actually nag on your fingers when you drive. So I would say if it's possible, we'll do it. Then there is one wild question. That's not me, that's what's stated. Is it possible to have an upgrade for the Forte wheel to add a display? I can answer in a different way. It's of course not, whether it's one or the other, it's of course not possible to add a display here because you would need completely different housing and then there would be essentially nothing left. But we are actually looking into, and that's another question down the line, whether we will do an external display. And yes, we are actually also working on an external display that you will be able to mount directly onto the wheelbase. And then, of course, if you use that together with a Forte wheel, you will have the display. Then again, when can we expect the Invicta wheels and the LMP grip handles to be released? I expect LMP grips Q1 and then end Q2, early Q3 for the Invicta wheel. So before we go further into the written questions, let me just take a few here online. Your company broke into the sim racing world relatively quickly. What has been the biggest hurdle you had to clear so far? And what do you think the next one is? I would say that the most difficult has been to crank out products. When we started, it was in the middle of the pandemic, and sub-suppliers was down. It was difficult to get components, etc. So I would say that has been the biggest challenge. And in terms of what the next biggest or coming challenge is, I would say we have done pretty well. We've been in business for 2 years now in terms of able to sell products. And we had a great year last year. We have an even better year this year. Of course, the biggest next challenge is to how do we scale it even further. Then I have one. Hello, André. I'd like to ask you, where do you see your company in the sim industry in the next years? What's your focus and what do you want to achieve? Many thanks from David. I would say that the reason we entered this market, well, there are several reasons, but number one reason is as a company, we are making a living out of doing liquid cooling, and it's always nice to have more legs to stand on. So we wanted to enter a new segment, a segment where we felt we could contribute. So that was one of the things we wanted to achieve by entering this space. Also, at least I believe we have brought a lot of new innovation to the sim racing industry, and that was also our target to do that. Then, aren't you worried that the quality of your products are too high? I'm not really sure how to interpret the question. I don't think the quality can ever be too high. Let's see here. Something comes in read time. Okay. Got some clarification. Whether I'm worried if our product is too high end. It's a deliberate choice that we have made, that we wanted to enter the high end to show off our capabilities, what we are capable of, building a brand. I think it's easier to go down in performance level than it is to go up. Not that I underestimate what low cost and high volume manufacturers can do, but I do believe in the future that when we have established ourselves as a high-end player, that we both have the skills and the capability to make, let's say, lower cost products, just like we do on the liquid cooling side. I think this year we will probably be selling around 1.5 million liquid coolers. So I do believe we have the capabilities. Then there's a question, what are your plans for expanding the distribution channels in the US? Shipping costs are currently prohibitive for your products. I think that's both correct and a false statement. It's correct that when we launch a new product, because they are made here in Denmark, when we launch it to the EU, for example, if we sell or ship a product today, the customer can have it within a few days. If you're in the US at the day that we launch a new product, like for example the GT wheels, it is correct that shipping it from Denmark is expensive. We do have hubs in Florida and the US, and we have a US web shop. And when you order from that, what's in inventory, you only pay domestic shipping charges. But naturally, the products will be available in Europe before in the US, and I guess that's just tough luck, but that's how it's going to be for a while at least. We're not going to hold back sales in Europe for that reason at least. On top of that, we have numerous US resellers, and of course we are always going to have more and are interested in having more But the situation is a little bit the same, that where the product is available first, that's where we will ship it first. And that may not only always be in Europe, because there are products that we of course will have made in Malaysia and some in China as well, and then it will be Asia that will be the first to get. Hi André, are there plans to do a quick release without electronics? Yes, I already addressed that. If you did not see that, you can rewind the tape. I almost said when this is over, and then you can see my answer about that. Then what about quality control? I have a front mount which was wrong mounting dimensions up to 5 millimeters. Still waiting Asetek reaction. It's of course very difficult for me to sit here on live and go into a specific support case, but for sure we are making mistakes like any other company, and that's a part of being a startup. This is a startup in every sense of it, and of course we always strive to be better, and I think we are pretty well known for have a good customer support, so I'm sure you'll get a reaction. Then let's jump a little bit into the pedals. I can see there are questions here as well for that. Let's take the first one here. I'm in the market for new pedals under 1,000 euros, and of course Asetek pedals are one of the options. Still, I have this feeling I should wait a bit longer. New pedals coming out everywhere with hydraulics for under 1,000 euros. Are we on the brink of a pedal revolution like we had with DD wheels, where they become a lot cheaper? And are we slowly stepping away from load cells in the next years? I would say that's a difficult question for me to answer, because I don't know what our competitors are doing. I think a load cell will always be cheaper than hydraulics, and in my opinion, and I guess that's what you ask for, if you look at the LMP car right behind me here, you have you actually have 3 brake cylinders. You have front brake, rear brake, and then you have for the clutch as well, master cylinders. And it's not like they have come down significantly in cost over the last 50 years. They pretty much cost what they cost. I would say though, I can see a lot of pedals coming out, and although I don't want to talk bad about anyone, then at least I have the right of my own opinion, and that is that having a hydraulic cylinder to push on a piece of rubber makes no sense. You will not be able to tell the difference whether it's mechanical or whether it's hydraulic. The thing with our Invicta pedals and the Thorpe system is really this 2-stage system where you compress the elastomer first, and then you basically smoothly goes into the second stage where you are compressing the fluid, which you can't really do, but you get this spongy feeling. So I would say no matter if you buy pedals from us or for somebody else, if you go for hydraulic pedals, at least make sure you can tell a difference at the end of the day, because elsewise it's just added complexity for no reason. Then there is somebody asking whether it's possible to order the knobs or the lock screws for the pedal in different colors. It's something we're looking into. It's not a slam dunk, because some of them are actually Loctited to the axle, and some of them have a small shaft through them. So it's not all of them you can change, and at least from my perspective, mixing a green or an orange, for example, would not look that nice. But it is something that's on our radar. And then we have a question here about ABS. I happen to have no less than 4 questions about ABS here. And one guy said here it was last seen at the 22 Expo, and that's actually correct. The reason it's not out has simply been priority. Needless to say, that system is going to be more expensive than, let's say, a mainstream brake system. So therefore, we have allocated more focus and more resources to, for example, the GT wheel to get stuff out of the door. So I cannot give you an exact date. All I can say is that it's for sure still on the roadmap. It's something we we talk about and work a little bit on now and then, but it's not a high priority for now, unfortunately. Yeah, there's a question here, will there be a haptic system for the Invicta pedals? It's a little bit the same as I just answered. We are not going to do any haptics for the clutch or the throttle. Again, in my own opinion, in a race car like this, there is no feedback in the throttle. If you have a throttle that's vibrating, to me it's confusing. It does not add to the experience. So for us, the haptics we are going to bring will be the ABS system. And here, of course, I can then bring up that if you have the Forte or the La Prima pedals, then you could actually upgrade directly from a La Prima or a Forte brake to an ABS when that gets out. I get a reminder here, sorry, and that is to say hi to those of you who just joined and let you know why we are here. We are here so that you can get all the latest and greatest of what we have going, and of course ask all the questions that you want. There are a lot of questions we addressed already. You can always go back on YouTube and start all over again, and of course see everything that we did cover. But welcome to you guys as well. Then on the wheelbase, whether there will be shaft side extensions, and yes, there will. I just showed you. Will you be integrating the new feedback technology that Fanatec and Logitech use? We have no plans to that effect right now, and the simple reason is that we still believe that we are kind of setting the benchmark in how a wheelbase should feel. We are obviously always optimizing the feedback of the wheelbase and the firmware. And if we believe there will be added value in taking some of the channels from the game and turn into something else in the wheelbase, we will do it, but it's not in the plans currently. And then one that's been asked a lot also, that is the upgrade kits on the wheelbase. And that's a very good question. And it's been a tough nut to crack because from a technical perspective, upgrading a La Prima wheelbase to a Forte wheelbase, for example, you need what I'm holding in my hand here, and you need a power supply. What we've been struggling with, so in other words, the hardware is here. What we've been struggling a bit with is there is a bunch of components, and while some of you are hardcore technology geeks and comfortable exchanging memory modules, CPUs and graphics cards in your PCs, there's also a lot of users who are not. And unfortunately, in our experience, some users, they believe they have some capabilities that turns out they don't. And then we give them a bad experience and they will ruin or break something. So we think we may have solved that. Then there's also another challenge that we are working on that we believe we can solve, and that is each PCB, and that's a part of why we have the great feeling in our motors. Each PCB is actually calibrated to each individual motor. So therefore, by the way, never exchange motherboards between wheelbases. But what we believe we can do is that you unmount this from your, in this case, La Prima wheelbase. You ship it directly to us. We will read out the parameters and the calibration from just your motor. And then we are going to apply that to the upgraded PCB and send it back to you with a new power supply. And then you mount it in the end. And now you have a Forte wheelbase. So that's how I believe it's going to work. I hope we can solve it during Q1, so it will be possible for those of you who are interested in that. On the steering wheels, while we are at the upgrades, whether it's a GT version or a Formula version, the way this is constructed is that you can, what is it here? Do we have 8 or 10 screws? You can take these screws out, and then you can take the whole front off. and then you could actually ship that back to us, receive a new front, and then you have an upgrade of a steering wheel. So that's something we will be releasing at the same time as the wheelbase upgrades. I answered most of that. Yeah, there are some very specific questions here to our software. Future updates to RaceHub, where you can have a profile for each car. That is something that will be coming in the RaceHub 3.0. Can you make the color of optimal shift lights the same color? That's also coming in the new release. So a lot of that. Let's turn back to the screen here. Any XL LMP handles coming? I can actually not answer that today. And the reason is we have looked at it and we're just trying to assess whether there will still be enough room for your fingers, etc. But it's something that's on our radar. Shifter paddles of forged steel. That's not on the agenda. What I can say is that carbon fiber shifter paddles, Invicta paddles, is on the agenda, and you will be able to, of course, that's how we do it, upgrade your La Prima or your Forte wheels with those paddles as well. Then we have one here, came into the presentation late, love the new modular system, wish I could migrate from Mosa. On that note, will we be seeing an Asetek wheel with an in-wheel display a la the LMP2? Yes, we will, and for you specifically, go back and see this from the beginning, and there I will be covering our Invicta wheels, where you'll both have LMP and Formula-style handles. Then there is a question whether we will make a button plate with a standard 6-hole mount for aftermarket rims. No, we have no plans for that, mainly because there are so many others doing it. And if you have a button plate or a button box from a third party, you can just buy our QR, third-party QR, and you'll be able to use our wheelbase. Oh, here's another one that's been asked a lot of times. That's the danger by showing something at a trade show. When can we expect a shifter and a handbrake? Can we hope 24 or 25? Yes, we can hope 24. That is something we are actively working on. What is the life expectancy for a DD wheelbase? Does prolonged use reduce force feedback over time? No. So a motor like this and any other motor from our colleagues in the business, I would say, you can't see it here, but just next to this wall, we have 10 CNC machines standing there. Very harsh environment. They are working really hard. It's, I would not say identical motors, identical technology. We run these machines many times, 24/7. They are shut down right now, so we could actually film here. But they are many times running 24/7, 300 days a year, and they are doing that for 10, 15 years. So don't worry about it at all. And you know, one of our milling machines have a 20,000 RPM spindle. You know, as you know, I mean, there's no wear on a wheelbase like that, so don't worry about that. Then we have something about rigs. Are any sim rig accessories coming? I remember you hinting you wanted to be a one-stop shop for everything on the sim rig. Then there is, I will answer. And then there's one, I would personally love to see some cooled/vented seat options using Asetek's PC cooling. Let's see here, I think I had some, yeah, and here's one as well to that effect. When will you release your new sim racing cockpit? And thank you for your exceptional products. You are welcome. In terms of the rig, we actually did show our prototype rig at the Sim Racing Expo, including our seat and including at least preps for venting. Again, we have a lot of things going. We are a small team, and we only have the resources we have, so we always have to, prioritize. Should we make a shaft extender? Should we make a front mount? Should we make a wheel upgrade? Or should we make a seat? Or should we make a rig? And I think in all the things we have going, the rigs have just been down prioritized a little bit. They will happen. If we are lucky, we will be able to show them in end 24 and then sell them in 25. But I think that's the best we can do currently. Will Micro Center be stocking the new products? That's for once actually a question I can't answer. That's actually a Micro Center question. Then we have here, as a player with only one arm, would a direct drive be too hard to drive with? Currently rocking a T300 RS GT. No, I actually don't think that's the case. I would say it, of course, depends whether is it track racing, is it street racing, is it oval racing, is it rally, or is it drifting? But keep in mind that you can always dial down the force feedback, and even if you dial down the force feedback, you'll still get the detail level of a wheelbase like this. And I actually have seen that question before, or I've actually seen it in use, where the person actually added a knob to his wheel. So that's an option also. Or if you have an open D, you could actually, grab here. When I look at my own racing videos from when I raced in the US, I had this habit of when I was going into a hairpin, I actually moved my hand from this and up here, so I could get a better leverage. So for sure, that's possible. André, what is your favorite sim/car/track combo to drive? That's a good question, and I may make a fool out of myself here, but it's a little bit nostalgic to me because I've been racing for the most of my life, but in the beginning it was two-wheel, it was motocross. So when I was young, it was motocross. When I started to do karting and car racing, it was in California. And I lived very close to Laguna Seca, 20 minutes away from Laguna Seca. So I would say Laguna Seca will have to be my favorite track because I've raced there quite a bit. And at the time I was driving a Pro Formula Master, very fast Formula car with the Master with the Master engine from the I don't remember now what car it was from, but very nice car. And I would say back then I was doing R Factor 2, so I think that would, if I had to put a finger on one, I think that would be it. Customer support is awesome. Send my thanks to the guys from support. Thank you very much. I will make sure to do that, and I know they will appreciate it. They are actually working way beyond their normal hours and is essentially answering all kinds of forums more or less night and day. So thanks for acknowledging that. Then will there be a bundle with the new round wheel plus base plus pedals? Yes, there will be. We are actually on the brink of launching a new website, and if all goes well, then we will also have some sort of a configurator where you can decide, I want that wheel, I want that wheelbase, and I want these pedals, etc. So that is something that is on our radar, and it's, I can be open and honest about it. I think it's even on our website that we had a hack to our website recently, and it took us a while to get over that, and that delayed our new website actually. Then we have a question whether it will be possible to upgrade the La Prima Formula wheel to Forte so it can use dual clutch. Yes, to you specifically asking this question, You can also go back earlier in this show where I'm actually addressing it in more detail, how it can be done, but that's a yes. Then we have any chance for collaboration with Sony and or Microsoft. I think we have something. Yeah, there's a few questions about console support, and because we are under NDA, so non-disclosure agreement, there is a limit to what I can say. But what I can say is that yes, we as a company is interested in supporting consoles, but it's not up to us. It's not like we just walk in the door and say to PlayStation, we would like a license, and now we get going. So I can't put a date on it, but I can reveal that we are working on something. Let's put it like that. So it's on our radar. Then how about making an Asetek Invicta VR headset? That is a great idea, but also very far from what we are good at here at Asetek. So I would say if we ever wanted to pursue something like that, it will probably be more be like an acquisition or cooperation with someone rather than it's a task that we would take upon ourselves. Then I have one here that's very interesting. It's a business question and not so much a sim racing question, but we'll take it. And that's the stock goal for 2024. Asetek is a listed company, so if you want to be a co-owner of Asetek SimSports, that's actually a possibility. I don't really have a stock goal for 24. As we already announced during our quarterly report, this year is going to be a solid year for the company. Still, the stock price is perhaps not where I had hoped it to be at this point. There are wars going on, there are inflation going on, so I'm not really setting the stock price. I wish I were, but I'm not. So I can't really answer that. Then bigger paddles for the button box for rally/GT, they are necessary. I could have been more specific before, but when we are launching the Invicta carbon paddles, there will be different sizes, and they will be applicable to basically our entire range of steering wheels. Then also, please bring a line that looks less toyish. We need wheels that look better, more professional, like Audi and Porsche could have designed them. See, that's a very interesting comment, because before we bought that car, we actually had the Audi GT3, and the Audi GT3 steering wheel is made of aluminum, and there's a big sticker, yellow sticker on it. And then on the back side, there is a plastic cover. So I would actually argue against you and say that to me, that's not very high-end. It's very racy. It's made for a purpose, and that is to win races in a race car. But to me, it would be a terrible sim racing wheel. I do get the point, though. And of course, we get a lot of feedback on the design on our wheels. And I think those of you who followed us for a while, when I launched this Invicta third-party quick release, the reason I did that is because steering wheel is like fashion. What one guy likes, the other one hates. And as I said earlier in the show, I think I have 11 or 15 wheels from colleagues and competitors in the business just laying in here beside me, and I think some of them are more fortunate than others, and it is going to be a style issue. You know, as an example, these orange buttons, we have made these knobs available on our website in orange and black, and we are actually selling quite a few of them. So if we have made another color scheme than what we currently have, then the people who now likes the orange, then they would hate it. So it's just very difficult to please everyone, and that's why we have made these, or we have them coming, as I said earlier in the show, we have these color kits coming. And then nobody asked the question, but I have seen it, as some of you know, I'm following some of the forums pretty closely, and some of them are saying it's a little bit plasticky. Keep in mind that this material I have here, it's carbon fiber, and it's glass, like in glass fibers, and it's plastic. If you take a piece of carbon fiber, you have this woven material, it's like a cloth, and then you put in something that epoxy, or something equivalent of epoxy. So I would actually argue that it makes no sense to make it any different way. But if you did not hear about the Invicta wheel, the Invicta wheel will be a very different design than what we are seeing right here. First of all, because it's involving a rather big display, and secondly, everything is made in aluminum and carbon fiber. But of course, the price is also going to be different. So that's always a trade-off. And in our product, for example, the Forte wheel, I think for the price of this, you get an insane amount of features. And yes, if you don't like, this is actually real carbon fiber. This is not plastic, and this is not a sticker. But there are a lot of people making sticker kits available, so you can customize it, in my opinion, like you want. Yeah, to that point, there's actually one here saying, I really love the wheel, but must say, first time I did not. It grew on me. Also, it looks even better in real life. Thank you, I agree. Then we have some real questions about racing. How is Asetek involved in real motorsport, and what's going on with the car behind? So I've been involved myself for many years. My daughter has been doing go-karting for many years. She's not karting anymore, she's not racing anymore. Then I have my son, who is trying to build a professional career. He's been driving everything from Formula 4, Formula 3, GT3s for AMG, or in an AMG or in an Audi. And now last year he did LMP3. On top of that, Asetek is actually racing the car behind me in the Danish Endurance Challenge. We won the championship 2 years ago in the Audi GT3. This year we only did a few races, but Asetek SimSports is going to be racing this car next year as well in the Danish Endurance Challenge. And there are many reasons. One is our customers can come to the track, check out our product. We always bring our sim products to the racetracks. And then, we bring different people. We have our own mechanics in-house, but we also bring different people from marketing, from engineering, etc. Because how can you actually talk about racing if you have no clue? So that's why it's important to us to be out there on the racetracks. And then, because of my son's racing, I am pretty much at a racetrack somewhere between 15 and 20 weekends a year. So I'm out there a lot. The next question is probably the same I have here. I just hadn't gone or come to it, but it's here. Thanks for reminding me. Hi, André. First off, love the Forte base and Formula wheel. Thank you. I appreciate it. I really do. My question is racing gloves. That's a good question. That's one of my big frustrations. I think it's 2.5 years since we started. And we have had so many variants of racing gloves here, but we just never liked any of them. And I would actually have to talk to product marketing on where we are. But we have some very nice gloves designed. We've just never been able to execute them to the level that we want. So yes, they are also on our radar. Praise to the CEO, I guess that's me. Thank you. You could not fulfill all wishes. You respond super fast to customer requests. Keep it up. Thank you very much, and you are absolutely correct. We cannot please all, and we're also not trying to please all. What we are trying to do is really to be true to the real race car feeling. I know all sim companies are saying that, because saying anything else would be stupid. But for example, on the braking, as some of you know, those of you who followed us from the beginning, I think we lit a big fire on this whole concept of having a hard and a short brake pedal. But we did not really bend over, because that's how it is in a race car. And people can either subscribe to that, or they can buy other pedals. We are fine with that. We don't have to please everyone. We are really trying to make it as real to the real car as we possibly can. You know, our sponsorship with Kevin Magnussen, that is, it's not about seeing our logo on his helmet, or Kevin doing posts about Asetek SimSports. What it's really about was we got Kevin's help. We could do it ourselves for GT3 cars, etc., and for Formula cars. But for a Formula 1 car, how can anyone in the sim industry talk about how a Formula 1 car feels if they never driven one? I haven't, so I would not be able to answer it myself. And that's really what we've used Kevin for, and that's what we're trying to do every day in and day out. That is to provide that real race car feel. And if some of you would like haptics feedback on the throttle pedal, you are welcome to mount it on our pedals, or you're welcome to buy from a company who makes it. If you think that's great, I have absolutely nothing against it. It's just not the route that we are going to take. Then we have modular pedals. Any plans for it? I am not 100% sure what that question means, because we have our S series where we have 3 individual pedals. And as you also know, you can, or some of you know at least, you can go from our La Prima pedals and all the way up to our Invicta pedals. So I don't really see how it could get more modular than that, unless I misunderstand the question, of course. Then we have a longer term, more business-related question. Have you guys thought about expanding out to other sim genres once you've conquered the car scene, of course? Let's put it like this. There's a reason why it's called Asetek SimSports and not Asetek Sim Racing. So yes, it is on our radar. We and I have our hands full right now, I would say, but longer term for sure. Hello, André. What future product are you most looking forward to developing? Yeah, that's a good question. I think I'm looking forward to get the Invicta wheel out. I think that's really nice. And then I'm also looking forward to the day where you can buy a full rig with only Asetek SimSports equipment everywhere, so you can truly say it's an Asetek product. That will be a proud moment for sure. Now we have a Dutch guy here, probably dividing the waters here, but orange is the best color. It's the Max Verstappen Supermax color. Yes, that's correct. Will it be possible for upgrades to buy just what you need? Would maybe like the Thorpe, but don't want LEDs or Invicta pedal faces. I would never say never, but we will not develop into a parts shop where you can basically buy one screw and not the other screw, and that's not who we are. And you know, having all these different SKUs, it's just getting complex. But never say no or never say never. When the ABS upgrade comes, those of you who have, I don't have a Thorpe cylinder here, but for those of you who have the Invicta pedals, you know, you have the hydraulic cylinder. And If you want to upgrade to ABS, it's a fully enclosed hydraulic system. So of course you need to replace the cylinder and then mount the ABS module with the cylinder as a unit. So at least second hand there will be Thorpe units out there. Then somebody asked if it's a new wheel on the right hand side of the screen. If I don't misunderstand, this would be your right and my left. This is actually the Forte wheel with the LMP handles on. It gives a completely different impression of the wheel, but it is in fact a standard Forte or or a La Prima wheel just with new handles on. And that's something I promised from the get-go, that, you know, like you have a GT style button box here where you can mount different rims. Same with the Formula button box. There will also be different handles along the way. Then there's a question about the new Comfort Plus material designed for glove-only use, or is it comfortable with bare hands? It's very comfortable. I mean, it's almost like a velvet. So there's absolutely no reason to use gloves on this for sure. I like the 80s F1 wheels, hope to get one from you. We share that passion. I also, I mean, I like to do everything, but first things first, and I also have to remember that we are running a business, of course, but I would like to do some vintage stuff also, you know, with wooden rims, wooden shifters, polished aluminum and that stuff. So I think as the time goes on, we will be doing more and more wheels for sure. You mentioned that all race car pedals are firm. However, I would say that's a misstatement. There are many different types of race car with different braking systems that have different feel. You are absolutely allowed to disagree with me. I stand firm that all race cars have hard brake pedals, and if they do not, it's because there's air in them. You cannot really modulate a brake system with air in it. And yes, of course, I can see that when you see some GT3 videos from an onboard or on-pedal box, of course, the movement is exaggerated up here where you have your foot. But I can guarantee you that all the race cars I have been close to, and that ranges from old Formula 1 cars, really old Formula 1 cars, to Le Mans cars, to Formula Ford, Formula 4, Formula 3, Formula 2, Formula 1, GT3, all of them, when they enter the track as a professional, not like a hobby tool, but a professional race car, I can guarantee you the brake is hard. I can also tell you that the newest hypercars, even the Invicta pedal has a long throw compared to them. It is like hitting a wall. But it's okay that we can disagree. I'm just sharing my experience and what I believe. Then, did the demand of the new button boxes and wheel rims surpass your expectations? Yes, they actually did. Of course, we have to see things into the context of the size Asetek currently have. But they were sold out in no time, and we are still trying to keep up. So we're actually very happy and grateful about that. So thank you guys for supporting us. Who is the fastest at the office? That's a good question. On an interesting side note here, we have actually one of our engineers. He built something he called Test Center North at his home, where he has, I think, 8 or 10 sims now, where different people from the company go there once a week and do sim racing. But to be brutally honest, I think my son is still the quickest of the bunch. In our new offices new headquarters, we will have a massive sim center. You're always welcome to schedule an appointment when that's possible, of course. And there even more people will be racing each other. Then do you have machine shop and build everything in-house? Yeah, perhaps that's something you should write to our marketing about. We have a huge machine shop and a lot of CNC machines, and we do build at least every prototypes we build here in-house. I can see we're running out of time now. We have 30 seconds left. Let's see. You are doing an amazing job. I own pedals, wheels, and bases, and I love them. Very much looking forward to the Invicta wheel. Are there plans to increase the voltage to the QR 5 volts to 12 volts? Thank you very much. We appreciate it. No, there's no change planned in the voltage. And then finally, and last question I will handle is just a huge thank you for the transparency you bring to the sim market. You are very welcome. And that was a busy session. Wow, 1 hour already. But thank you so much for all your questions. I hope this brought some clarity to where we are going, what we will bring to the market, and whether that's a good fit for you or not. And of course, thank you for supporting us out there, and thank you for buying our products. See you next time. Thanks.